Oh, hello everybody again. This is Maxwell Jeffries and the mascot of our show, Archie. I got some call from my daughters to make sure that Archie is on film when I'm doing these off-site commentaries on life in Phoenix, Arizona. Today I'm going to talk to you about the controversy and confrontation I had with Barnes & Noble a while back. You know Barnes & Noble, booksellers, and at one time, I don't know whether it's still true or not, at one time they were the largest bookstore, they had the largest bookstore in the world on Fifth Avenue and 18th Street in Manhattan. Someone said they had about 18 miles of shelving, of book shelving, and they had underground tunnels, and it was just like a huge undertaking there. But anyway, I was at a Barnes & Noble recently here in Phoenix. You remember Archie when I was there? You do, right, baby? Archie doesn't say much, but he knows what's going on. So anyway, I walked in and there was this giant posters. They must have been 10 feet long, streaming down from the ceiling, and around every sales associate's neck there was a giant, with a lanyard, a giant poster that was on their chest. And what it said was, they all said the same thing: join today our members club and receive an extra 10% off your purchase. So for those of you that are not familiar with the Barnes & Noble Members Club, let's see, it's been around a long, long time. Let's see, I'll tell you how long it's been. Archie says that, let's see, Hitler invaded Poland in 1939. I think it's been around even longer than that. So, would you agree, Arch? Yeah? Anyway, they've been pushing this members club, and basically what happens is you pay a $25 annual fee, and you get a plastic laminated card that says you're a Barnes & Noble Members Club member, and that entitles you to 10% off any purchase made in the store for a year. So the idea is for you to come back more often to the store to get the 10%. So we know about that club. We know about the 10%. I know about it. I've never decided to get involved with it for whatever reason. So, but today I walked in. When I walked in, I saw all this promotion going on, and it said, join today in huge letters and receive an extra 10% off your purchase. So what am I to think? I know the word extra means in addition to. In addition to what? And well, in addition to the 10% you normally, would get from the Members Club membership, today, if you join today, you get an extra 10% off your purchases. So 10% and 10%, to my way of thinking, is 20%. So I was very thrilled. I said, I'm going to join today to get 20%. In fact, I'm going to buy a bunch of CDs that I've been looking to get. I'm going to get some of those wonderful art books, coffee table books, and a few other things, because I'm going to get 10% off. So I run around the store, and I bring up all the stuff to the register, and there's this rather obese sales lady there. And I said, I want to join the members club today, like the signs say, and like it says on your lanyard, and I want to get my extra 10%, which would be what? 10% and 10% would be 20%. And she looked at me incredulously and said, no, sir, it's not 20%, it's only 10%. I said, but the sign says if you join today, you get an extra 10%. What do you get normally if you join? She says 10%. But it says here, if you join today, you get an extra 10%. That 10% and 10% is 20%. Anyway, she said no. And I couldn't get anybody to even agree with me, even just a little bit, that it's poorly worded. Because the way it should have been worded was, join today and receive 10% off your purchases. And Archie agrees with that 100%. Right, sweetheart? Yes. Doesn't say much, but I know exactly what he's thinking. So I was upset, and I brought everything back. I said, forget it, I'm not joining. I think at most, it's a real shame that Barnes & Noble, a bookstore, you deal in books and words and definitions, and that word extra is extremely misleading. I couldn't get anybody to agree with me. I walked out of the store. I went to another Barnes & Noble a week later. I spoke to a manager, coincidentally, who was doing cashier work. I was buying something, and it said manager. And she agreed with me. She said, you're right, it is misleading. There's no question about it. I said, so what are you going to do about it? Oh, but corporate won't do anything about it. They won't even give any nonsense. I said, give me someone that I can contact in corporate. So to make a long story short, because we're running out of time, I contacted corporate. They were very apologetic. They didn't admit to any wrongdoing, but they did offer me a membership card. And I said, I'll gladly take the membership card if for one day I get my extra 10%. I want my extra 10%. They refused, and I refused the membership card. So in conclusion, if anyone out there in my vast audience has a cogent or compelling argument as to why Maxwell Jeffries is wrong about this Barnes & Noble issue and should not have received that extra 10%, and that the advertising was not misleading, please post it in the comments section, and I'll be happy to discuss it with Archie and then get back to you. And if you make a cogent and compelling argument, I will change my mind and address it at some future time. Okay? Well, this is Maxwell Jeffries signing off with our mascot Archie from sunny Phoenix, Arizona. See you again soon. Bye-bye.